All right, and we're back for another episode, and I'm joined with Karen Lee Batten. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm not too bad. So you're here in Canada. Where are you originally from?
I was born and raised in Abbotsford, British Columbia, and now I live in Langley, but I kind of did my routine where I moved to Vancouver for a little bit, and, I went back to Abbotsford at one point, but I've kind of always lived in BC. Other than a 2-year period, I actually went out and moved to Toronto.
Nice. How was Toronto? How was that?
Toronto was good. It was extremely cold. The year that I lived there, it was minus 40 with 100-mile-an-hour wind chills. And then I went, I think I'm going to go back home.
Absolutely. And I think winter's worse there, isn't it?
It's very cold there. So I went there for school. So I lasted there for a little bit, and then I turned around and went back home. And actually, I ended up getting a scholarship at Humber College for saxophone.
Okay.
And I came home and sang at a girlfriend's wedding in the summer and fell in love with the groomsmen, and then totally ditched the scholarship and came back home.
Came back home. Okay. All right.
Proud moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's quarantine been treating you out there?
I always find that question so interesting. I think maybe there's a few people that are like, oh, it's been fine. I've been totally fine. And kudos to anyone that can die hard and absolutely mean that. But, it's had its ups and downs. I think like anything, we've all had to navigate through this weird time. And for me, I miss the stage so much. Like, I can't even tell you how much I miss the stage, and just, like the camaraderie and the people. I mean, in our industry, yes, we go out for lunch with friends like normal people do, but our industry was packed with a ton of people on a daily basis.
That's right.
So it wasn't groups of 10 and 20, it was thousands, so it's a very different period where, I'm very blessed to say that I can still put out some music and still record. And, we've been able to figure all that out. But I'm just so looking forward to just, grabbing a beer and hopping on a stage and singing these songs and having people sing back to me, whether it's a cover tune or something, original of mine or whatever it is, but just have that party back,
That's right. So would you say the live shows, missing out on that has kind of been your biggest struggle, or?
Yeah, probably. I really love being on the road. I love my family. I love my home, but I really love getting out there. And I've always said that one of my favorite parts about this industry is that, no 2 days are ever the same. You never run into the same, other than your band, you never run into the same people really, unless it's another year at the same festival, which you're excited to, get back to. But it's never really the same thing twice. It's a different hotel. It's a different group of people. It's, you're adding songs, you're taking away songs, your sets are changing. And I love that. Maybe it's the Leo in me. I don't know, but it makes it exciting for me to just kind of keep going and see new things. And so I would probably say that. And then, almost the same thing twice, traveling, just period traveling, being able to hop. Yeah. You must miss that too. Like being able to hop on a plane and, just go lay in the sun in the middle of November is like, I really miss that.
Everyone needs that. Everyone.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. So what's one good thing you've taken from this whole quarantine?
Yeah. Well, you're going to laugh. So, the whole live thing for me, and doing streaming interviews and, going live for Facebook or Instagram or whatever the case may be, that was always something I kind of shied away from. So I'll say that that's something that I've definitely had to go, okay, well, I can't ignore that anymore, because clearly this is the only way that we can do things right now. And the other thing is, and this is definitely not a promotional thing, but I did start up a new company in the meantime, because I'm always usually running around and super busy. And so I think I sat on the couch for about 2 days moping and went, this really sucks. Now what? Because usually if I'm not on stage, I'm booking shows. So I'm running and booking shows and booking bands and kind of doing the, fly around kind of road manager type thing.
Right.
And so I kind of sat there going, what am I going to do? And I started up a company called Earthia, where I now make about 100 different handmade organic products like lip balm and lip glosses and foaming hand soaps and bar soaps and just tons of stuff. So it actually ended up in a spa as of about a month ago. Nice. So, it's kind of been a cool little transition of something else that I can do that kind of makes me feel like I'm giving back a little bit as well. And I actually have a massive order on my kitchen counter right now that's going out for a charity in a couple of days. And so, that's definitely been something that's kept me busy, and thank goodness, because I'd probably lose my mind otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, perfect. Now I want to take it back and let's chat about your Canadian Idol experience. Because that was 2003, right?
Yep.
That's right. Okay. So tell us.
That makes me 29.
I didn't say it. I didn't say the age. So tell us a little bit about your experience there.
Yeah, that was a wild time. Never something I thought I would ever do. I was kind of in a transition period of deciding whether I wanted to move to Nashville or stay in Canada. And so when that opportunity came up, the first thing I thought was, no, I'm not a reality TV person at all. I love watching it, and we all sit around and laugh and, and enjoy all the contestants and what have you. But I thought, I don't want to be that person that people are laughing at, so right. And so I kind of, after watching American Idol, I thought, I wonder if they're ever going to come out with that. And when it did, I remember the day that the advertisement came out, because I think it had been about, honestly, probably 20 seconds before my phone started beeping. And it was either a family member or a friend going, oh my goodness, they're bringing Canadian Idol into town. You've got to try out. And I thought, is this really going to be what I do? And so I think one thing, fast forward, you go from trying out and going through that whole process to it being narrowed down to 200, and then all of a sudden the top 30 and so on. But I remember sitting there in the top 200, and you're in the audience and you're listening to every single person audition.
Right.
And it blew me out of the water, the amount of talent that was in that room. You can have your family and friends tell you that you can sing all day long, but when you're sitting in a room of 200 people and after 6,000 auditioned, and you're sitting with the top 200, and I'm going, honestly, 190 of them could have won. And I don't mean anything about the other 10, but we've all seen the best of the worst shows. And so they got to come up with those as well. But honestly, I'm sitting there, my jaw's dropping, because every single person that went up on stage, I thought, I don't stand a chance. Before you're kind of thinking maybe there's a chance, but at this point I'm like, there's no way. So, I think it was kind of neat in that it was overwhelming to think of how much talent was there, but it also made you, sit up a little higher, a little stronger, and go, oh, I better work my ass off for this. Like, this is not going to be easy whatsoever. There's so much talent in Canada, as we know, with so many talented Canadians that we already have that are doing huge things, so the whole experience was amazing. Definitely something I probably took away from it would be, knowing that there's thousands of people. Actually, in that case, there was 6.1 million viewers was our highest view during Canadian Idol. And then you're looking into this little black box and trying to be emotional and transmit your songs and your lyrics out to this audience. And sometimes you can forget that, you do have a live audience behind that camera, so really try and project that emotion of what you're singing. And so I would say probably that's something that I, took away from that experience as being something I'll forever use throughout my career. But it was a wild time.
So Canadian Idol isn't something you always wanted to do. It was just you were just pushed into it almost.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, in a good way. Yeah. I think that, I think one thing that's really cool that I've definitely kind of continued on after that was when people do ask you to do things, like, we all kind of have the natural feeling of being a bit scared, whether it's starting a new job or whatever the case may be. But I think being a bit of a yes person, as long as it doesn't put you in harm's way or go against a moral, is a really good thing to learn, And so I've definitely jumped in with 2 feet throughout the years following that reality show, just saying yes to things, and allowing myself to be nervous about it, but transition those nerves into more of an excitement to go, I can do this. And even if I fall on my ass, like, oh, well, you know what I mean? Like, just keep going and you'll learn something from it. And from that, I think have come up with some cool things, throughout the career and opportunities that people have, allowed me to take on and trusted in me, for things. So it's, I think it's been definitely a benefit over a negative from that experience, for sure.
Okay. And I want to talk about the tryout sessions, because a little fact that no one know, I actually tried out for Canadian Idol as well.
Codi! Yeah,
I am not a singer by any means, though. And I was wanting to be one of the guys that got made fun of on TV.
Are you
100%? Like, I did it just to say I did it. That's it.
Yes.
But it's funny because they said, if you know you're better than someone, but they get through and you don't, they're like, it's television, people. It's kind of one of those things. So is that kind of what happened where you were as well? Because that's what they said to us in Edmonton here. And it was like, I got through over someone, like, for the first round, because you have like 3 producers, and then I went to the one-on-one kind of thing.
Right.
And then it was like, I'm like, oh my God, everyone hates me here because I'm terrible, right? So, it's too funny.
That's awesome. Well, I have to admit, like I said before, they do have to have the best of the worst show. And There were a couple of times that us in the audience, we kind of did that, that high school where you look at your friend and give her that look, when you're, when you're watching something and we're kind of going, this doesn't add up. And then, of course, the whispers would start and go, oh, now we get why they're here. And it's unfortunate. And what's terrible is that, unlike yourself, where you knew it was going to be kind of funny, there's people who really honestly felt like that they were, that good and that they should be there. And they were devastated when they were kicked off or when they were put on that show afterwards. And I get it. It's for good TV, whatever. But, I just hope that it's not something that's followed them around since 2003.
It was like something like when I got through to the next round, I was like, there's no way that just happened. There's no way.
Yes, that's awesome.
Oh, it was funny.
And has that been your biggest, famous moment?
Maybe. And it was like the first time it was really awkward. They had the cameras coming at you, obviously for the show, right? But it was just like, oh no, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. And I knew it was so bad, right? But it was just like,
you got to drag up that footage. Is there any footage on it?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I don't think there's any of it, because I kept looking to see if it was on television at all, but I didn't make the cut for television.
Buddy.
I tried. Is there a backstage story you're able to share that maybe the cameras didn't catch?
Yeah. Like any reality show, they do try and start a little bit of drama. So there is that, right? They'll, they might say, oh, so-and-so, did you hear what so-and-so said? And which probably happened, but no, the person didn't hear, and so now they're fumed up about it and they got to go find the person, and the camera crew will be very more than willing to go, oh, they're just over there, as they follow them around. But I guess one in particular would have been when we were practicing a choreographed song. And so all 11 of us had to be on stage at that time. And one of the gals, I'll leave her name out, she had to go to the bathroom. And she didn't turn her mic off.
Oh, no.
So everyone has to stop because you can't continue because we are all a part of this, choreographed song. And so we all waited. And then all of a sudden somebody goes, what? Oh, oh, wait, never mind. And then, of course, you try and play it off when they come back in the room, like everything's fine, but everybody bursts out laughing. Of course, she went every shade of red. And it just was like, note to self, always turn your mic off when you don't want someone to hear, you know.
I couldn't imagine. I mean, I would make the best of it, of course, because that's what I do. I don't even know, actually.
I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, I think it might be easier for a guy to get away with that. I don't know.
Maybe. You might be right.
It would take a certain type of girl to really pull that one off.
That's true. I'd be like, oh, you guys heard that? Well, it is what it is. Let's continue.
Yeah, exactly. Don't go chasing waterfalls, right?
Okay. Was country music always a genre you kind of wanted to pursue, or was there another genre?
No, it wasn't. My original music was more of the gospel and more of the rock. And so I actually really loved, in the very beginning, my stuff was like Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, you know, and flip side, I know this is like, but I loved like Nirvana and Rage Against the Machine and like the U2, like back in the U2 days. They went from a Christian band to a rock band to like more of a pop band, which was interesting. But I was kind of right in that rock area of like Joshua Tree. And I mean, I loved all of that type of music. And I kind of went into more of like that Alanis Morissette, Sarah McLachlan, Tori Amos, Amanda Marshall kind of stage. Country music for me came out of a funny situation where I had broke up with a guy and my girlfriend said, you got to come to the Marymount Music Festival. It's amazing. And I went, no, I'm not going to do that. And I think I was 19 maybe. And she goes, no, you really need to come to this festival. Like there are like hot dudes, like really hot dudes. And I went, well, maybe I'll come to the festival. So she goes, I got a full tank of gas. My Jeep's parked out front. She was already there and she was in a van with some of her other girlfriends. And I went, really? And she goes, yeah, just go grab my Jeep. So top down yellow Jeep, YJ, tunes cranked. I hop on the freeway and I'm halfway up and I realize that I don't have reception. So I can't listen to my rock radio station that I always listen to. And what is in the CD player but a mixtape of everyone at the festival that year, of course, because she made it. Of course. So by the time I got there, I knew one Dixie Chick song, one Leanne Rimes song, one Tim McGraw song, and everyone that was playing that year. And so I remember standing there thinking, why do I know this song? And I'm kind of singing along. And she goes, you listen to my tape on the way out. So that's what got me into country. It was white tank tops, Wrangler jeans on hot dudes, and like 5 country songs.
Okay. All right.
And then fast forward, Aaron Burchett actually was the first guy that got me playing on some of the stages out here at the country bars that were open. It was Roosters and Gabby's in Boone County. And I would go and watch his shows and he would get me up to sing like 3 songs that I knew with his band. And that was actually the first stages I ever got on singing country.
He would do something like that. He would.
Yep. Absolutely. Follow around the hot guy.
Okay. Let's talk about your newest single now, Drinkin Song.
Yeah.
It's going to be a part of a new EP you have coming out later this year.
Yeah, we're working on that right now. We've already released 2 tracks off of that. So Drinkin Song. And then prior to that in October, we released Too Strong. And so we have yet to figure out exactly how many songs are going on it, but we know for sure that there'll be 4 and we're working on some more right now and plugging away to get those out. So I'm excited.
Awesome. And okay, so tell us about the single, how it all came together, because this is about a past experience, right?
Yeah, it is. So when I write, like, I mean, we've all done the writing sessions where we, have a planned write where it's, you're going to arrive there at 11 and write till 3. And as soon as 3 o'clock's over, you might have another one, following that, and it's timed, and you're in a writer's room and you have different people coming in and out. One thing that, I love that as well. And I totally get the importance of that, especially if you're traveling and you're on a trip and that you're on a writer's trip. But one thing I really love is the untimed as well. And so this trip was a little bit different. I had invited Mitch Merritt and Jeff Johnson, both from BC, to come up to our holiday place in Kelowna. And so we were actually there for like 3 nights. We did drink quite a bit of wine and other things, I'm sure, whiskey and so on. Yep. And it was just kind of, there was no pressure about it. And I really loved that. And so we actually wrote 3 songs that all 3 of them are going on the EP during that trip. And one includes Drinkin Song. And so I had never written anything about an ex really before. There was one song I wrote called The Next Step, which was just kind of, like moving on from something, but I'd never really kind of dug into like a real past relationship. And honestly, Cody, I think it's kind of funny because sometimes I feel like when you do that, you might not always want to talk about, like if it's you or somebody else who's not a singer or writer, yep. If I walk up to somebody on the street and go, hey, right now, tell me about your divorce. You know what I mean? And so sometimes you just kind of aren't in that state of mind. Yeah. And so I guess when I thought about writing about an ex, it always seemed like it had to be kind of downer and sad. And maybe that's why I shied away from it. But when Jeff started saying, hey, tell me about this past situation for you, I started talking about it, and he's like, what? He's like, that really happened? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, oh, we're writing about this. So I love that it became something that I can, like, I don't want to say laugh at, because it's not like I'm laughing at it, but I can look at it as it's so in the past for me that I'm able to write it like this. And it doesn't have to be sad and bring on that sort of emotion. I can just say, hey, when the heart is hard to take, you need a song to numb the pain. So when it's wrong, I need a drinking song, And so that was kind of the moral of the whole song, was like, yeah, you know what? Sometimes you just need to be able to forget about it and move on and say, come on, girls, let's just go have a drink, Right. So that's kind of where this came from, with a couple of funny little things in between, but everything in the song actually did happen. And, it's good to be able to look back and go, it was hard then, and it was in a moment when I never would have wanted to talk about it back then. But, it's been a good length of time now that it's a good reminder that things do change and things do get better, and the hard does, it moves into the past. That's right.
When I listened to it, it was like, oh, this is kind of an upbeat, happy song. And then I was like, oh, there's a meaning behind this. I was like, oh, I don't know if people will know.
Yeah, well, who knows if he's heard it yet.
I was going to ask that next, actually.
He might not find it so funny.
Okay. You've had some co-writers on it. What's your favorite thing about co-writing?
I love co-writing. I love co-writing way more than I love sitting by myself writing. Me sitting by myself writing will take a million years longer than if I have other people in the room. I think what I love the most about it is it's not all about me, and I think that having more heads on something makes a song even more relatable, because they can enter in a little bit of, things that happened with them, or they can even give me the, oh yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from with that, and kind of the assurance that we're going down the right path. The other thing I love is that, somebody like Jeff Johnson comes in and he just starts to play, and you're going, okay, that riff is rad. And he just I don't even know how he is as creative as he is. And then Mitch, what he brings to the table too, he's got that kind of rock and grunge country feel to him, and the way that he writes, that combined with the three of us, I felt pretty blessed to have those two in the room, that's for sure. And then on the last single, Chad Kruger entered into the write as well on Too Strong. And he's, mind-blowing in his talents as well. And so, I don't know how I became cool enough to hang out with any of those guys, but somehow I must have done something right along the way. But no, I love co-writing, and we hope actually to do that again this summer. Thankfully, that they're in my bubble, so we hope to be able to kind of do a repeat trip of what we were able to do before. So we'll see what comes out of that one.
Awesome. Okay, and what would you say is the weirdest, most awkward way you've come up with a song?
Oh man. Weirdest, most awkward way we've come up with a song. Oh man, that's actually really funny. We were debating the other day about recording a song that we wrote on that trip. It's kind of an answer to Brad Paisley's "Well, I'm Going Fishing." You know that song? Oh. Okay, so without giving the whole thing away, that song is pretty awkward and hilarious. Okay. And if I ever do record it, how about this? If I ever do record it, I will contact you, and we'll like premiere it or something together. And then I can tell you a little bit more about it at that time. But now that I'm talking about it, it makes me really want to record it.
Yes. Yeah, we could do like an Instagram live or something.
Yes. Okay, let's do that.
I'm in. Okay. Can we expect a video sometime soon for the newest single?
Yeah, actually, today the lyric video comes out.
Okay.
And we shoot the official video on the 20th. So that's Tuesday, this coming Tuesday.
Okay.
And I think it gets released just after the radio release. So the official radio release is April 26th, and then the official video will come out right after that. So we're creating right now, because it's definitely an interesting time when you can't have a whole bunch of people around you. So we're kind of coming up with creative ideas on how we're going to play out this video on Tuesday. So I know we're right around the corner, but we're going to kind of, put it all together at the last minute and come up with our ideas for that. But yes, there is an official video.
Perfect. And with the release of this single, and obviously the EP coming up, what's next for you?
Well, we will move on to release another song. So I'm excited about this one too. I don't know, I hope people really relate to it, but regardless, I'm just excited to, get some of my own rights out there again, to be honest. The last album that I did was the Under the Covers in Muscle Shoals. And so we went down to Fame and did that in Alabama. And it was all a covers record, and something I definitely, it's a forever record and a dream to be able to do that. But one thing about it is it wasn't stuff that I wrote. And so this stuff for me it's been a real refreshing to kind of come back with some of my own rights. And so I think that's really what I'm going to focus on. I'm just going to focus on getting out more of my music and doing a lot more writing. And then the minute that I'm allowed to get on a plane, I'm just going to go somewhere.
That's my plan.
I don't even know where. I'm going to be like, whether it's even in Canada. I've never even visited the far East Coast. I've always wanted to see like PEI in Newfoundland and I haven't done that yet. And that's always bothered me, that I haven't seen that side of our own country, so I want to do that. But one of my favorite places in the world is Puerto Vallarta. It's so quick to get to, and it's so much fun down on the Malecon. And there's some tequila that definitely misses me down there.
I agree. I hate tequila myself, but
I do too.
It's never nice to me.
Well, it's never really all that nice to me either, but it definitely is something that it needs to at least be consumed a couple of times just because you're there.
Absolutely. I do agree with that. Awesome. All right. So for those who don't know, tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Everything is just under my full name, Karen Lee Batten, on every platform. That's it. Just on the website and Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. Everything's Karen Lee Batten.
Awesome. Easy enough. All right, Karen. Well, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Codi, you rock. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Anytime. And let's talk about that Instagram Live thing.
You got me thinking. You have me thinking. Okay.
All right. Thanks so much, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good, buddy. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.